12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
All right, good morning to the West Coast. Good afternoon to my good people on the East Coast. This is the Reprint, and I am Editor-in-Chief Crystal Jordan Jennings with my publisher here.
Victor Flavius, how y'all doing out there? Good morning, good afternoon. What's happening?
Hey, good morning, Victor. How are you out there in sunny LA?
Good. Great weather we're having out here today. Woke up this morning, went to the gym, got my morning started early. Yeah, I mean, gotta stay healthy. Health is everything, Mm-hmm. We have to be mindful of our energy and our time. So we gotta start our day in positivity. How's your morning going? Or your afternoon, I should say.
My afternoon. It is going well. I had last couple of days have been busy. I have had a week. I did SCAD TV Fest with client Chili and Matthew Lawrence this past week. And then yesterday I sit in on The Pulse, which is our Fox affiliate. We do a 30-minute show that talks about pop culture. Well, not even just like what's going on, right? It's like it's social news. So I get the chance to go into Fox a couple of times a month and hang out with the broadcasters there. It was interesting. We talked about Valentine's Day because we know Valentine's Day is coming up next week. Mm-hmm. We also talked about the fact that a lot of people are now, not only do we see a rise in children living with their parents a lot longer than usual, but we also see parents moving back in with their children more than in years past. In years past, we see people would put their, maybe have to put their mother or father or grandparent in a assisted living space. But we see that due to rising costs, healthcare, and different issues, a lot of people don't have that, or maybe they don't want to, and they actually are moving their parents in with them. So, for me, that's definitely something. I moved my mom in with us last year, and because not doing well. She just lived really far from me, and she's 76 years old, and I wanted to have her closer. But it's interesting because, there were a lot of people that were saying that their parents were 85, 95 and still living on their own. So to your point about health is the most important thing,
Yeah. People think you got to go to the gym and lift all these heavy weights and stuff, but it pretty much science has been shown that if you in your 40s and 50s work out regularly and lift, normal things, do squats, do normal lifting, 20 pounds or whatever, your basic day-to-day stuff. If you can lift a bag of groceries from your car to your doorstep, or, your pet, or a chair or whatever, practice doing those things. If you can do those things, then in your 70s and 80s, you'll be a lot better because you have more muscle and, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will say my mom, she is 76 and she goes to the gym 3 times a week.
That's what's up.
Miss it. She does not miss the gym. She has they give them silver sneakers membership, so they can go to the gym for free at, I think, Planet Fitness, and she definitely takes advantage of that offering all the time. So
Smart
that's
woman.
good. I mean, yeah, definitely. She's always been, my mother's always been someone that worked out all the time. I saw that example. I have to do better. I have no excuse. I saw it constantly when I was coming up. We got a lot. There's a lot happening. We got a big show today, a lot of topics. I'm going to start with a kind of like a question I think that comes up a lot with people that are successful, that reach a certain point of success. We were started out talking about families, and so there's been news headlines of the rapper Glorilla. She's had enormous success as of late, and her sister that we see right here is accusing her sister's name is Scarface Woods. And she is accusing her of abandoning their family. She's publicly urging Glorilla to give each of her 9 siblings $2,500, saying family support should be a priority. The clip sparked a social media backlash and a broader conversation about wealth, responsibility, and family expectations. I actually saw Scarface on TMZ yesterday talking about, just really blatantly saying that she believes that her sister has a responsibility to take care of their family. She said that Glorilla was supposed to retire their mother, but their mother is still working. I think she has like a UPS or something. She works, her mother goes to work every day, and she was upset about that. It was just interesting to see, because Harvey asked, do you feel like she just is supposed to take care of you? And her sister said yes. She said she feels like that is her responsibility because she's a part of the family, and that's what you do for family. Now, interestingly enough, her brother, because she has 9 siblings, so there's a lot of probably brothers and sisters on both sides, but brother came out and said that he has not ever complained. He's not, he doesn't care. He said that he knows that he was a part of her. He was a part of her creation. And so he's not going to go on and interviews and everything and claim his sister owes him. But I kind of feel like by him saying that he was responsible for her success, I think that in a way he was suggesting that she does owe them, but he definitely was not. He definitely didn't have the same message as Scarface did.
Okay, so my take on this whole Glorilla situation, we don't know what her contract is. We don't know how much money she has. A lot of times, well, we know for a fact that in the music industry, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of stuff that the label puts the artist in: homes, cars, jewelry, clothing, travel, and all these things are in a budget that the artist doesn't necessarily touch. They just are part of it, So if Glorilla has $1 million contract, she probably making, a couple $100,000 or whatever the case is. Now, what she makes on her shows, that's different. We don't know what her budget is or the contract is. We don't know what her overhead is. We don't know anything about her financial situation other than what she portrayed in her videos.
Right.
So for her sister to come out and say these things about her sister, it just shows the lack of information that she has for her sister, because a lot of these artists are struggling. We saw back in the 90s when TLC got on stage and said, hey, we're the biggest selling platinum artist group of all time, and we're broke. We all made $30,000 a piece. Like, what's happening? So we see these things happen all the time.
Right.
So for her to get on to TMZ and say these things, also on TMZ, I saw the clip where they were asking her, if Glorilla had $2 million, how much money that should they get? And she said $2,500. So clearly, if you said $2 million of money that I have, and I'm giving you something, you want $2,500 is going to make you whole. There's a problem right there. There's a mental problem going on right there.
Well, what that tells me is that you're going to $2,500 me to death. So you're going, because she's given them money before, but when you look at a number like that and you say you only want $2,500, that lets me know you're thinking about right now. And as soon as you run that $2,500, next week you're going to reach out again and again and again. Like I said, you're going to $2,500 me to death. So it's interesting because I don't think, if my brother hit it big, I think that if a family member wants to help, that's great, right? And that's great. But I don't know that just feeling entitled, and also not only feeling entitled, but going to TMZ to talk about this and basically to bring bad publicity to your family member that can ultimately hurt their career just for the sake of getting $2,500 is strange, because that means you're angry and you're willing to destroy my public reputation and potentially hurt my career for $2,500. That lets me know that the pettiness has no end. And this is just something that is going to continue to happen. So $2,500, I would never, I would almost suggest, if I were, in her camp, like, just to shut this up, do what you're going to do the entire thing, and then just stop. And that's sad, because it's why a lot of times when people become successful, there's this enmity between them and their family, because a lot of times family members feel entitled not just to what you give them, but to a piece of what you have in perpetuity, right? Like, I want you to keep taking care of me, because the sister, Scarface, said that she really feels like her sister has a responsibility to take care of the family. And when you think about that, 9 siblings and a mother and a father, so that is 11 people, in addition to herself and whatever she's doing, that she would have to fund at their discretion for the rest of her career, is not fair at all.
And what if the mother and father didn't want to be retired? I mean, we use that term loosely in these times, but we live in different times. Back then, maybe sort of, but retired, it's some people want to work. Some people want to work in the 60s and 70s. Some people like working in the 60s and 70s. And I've seen people retire at 70 and die right after they retire. So what if the mom and dad say, hey, I don't want to be retired, but this is something that we only see Scarface Woods talking about. And it's very, like you said, I could see now also, I could see if she was on TMG saying, hey, I presented my sister with a business plan of opening this business, and she didn't even flinch. She didn't try to support. I'm going to do it myself. I just want to let you guys know, nothing, but you bring in bad publicity to the whole family. You have 10 siblings. I mean,
yeah,
10 siblings. What is she supposed to do with 10 siblings?
What are you supposed to do with 10 siblings? And I think, we got to think about the word retire. Like, ultimately, Glorilla's mother could be in her 50s, really. I mean, 50s
True.
or 60s. Right. So that means to retire her and her father would mean to take care of them for the rest of their life, which could be another 40 years. Right. So retire someone means that they don't have to work. You take care of their food, their utilities, their home, their taxes, their gas. That is a huge undertaking. And Glorilla's career is still very new.
Very, very new. She's not Drake. She's not Kendrick. She's not, she's
very new. And, we know that there are other people taking a bite out of that pie. But I think that the idea, and it's sad because, I've worked in entertainment for many, many years, and there are many, many families that, split over money. And I think that just feels like if you could want to destroy me, because I can see if you're upset, but for you to take it to TMZ and to the public audience, that to me says a lot about the character, that you don't really understand what family is supposed to be about, because you're willing to destroy me over the fact that you feel like you're entitled to my money. And that's unfortunate. But like I said, you see a lot of families, have issues, and you see a lot of people no longer speak. I think Mariah Carey is one of the people that has a famous rift. Her and her sister do not speak. I think even her mother, like, this happens a lot. And success and money and access end up breaking up a lot of families. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of families, I'm just gonna go here because it's this story on Sir Cam Newton. Cam has been Cam has a new show on BET that is kind of like, I feel like it's like a sports version of 106 in Park, right? So it's like, that's kind of the vibe here. But recently, and we also know that Cam has been in the news because of his extra curricular activities. He has quite a few children with a few women that he's not ever been married to. And that's a conversation that has been a topic on his show and a lot of other people's podcasts, just this idea of men creating broken families by choice. And so I just feel like it's very just knowing what his stance has been, that he hasn't had a choice, he didn't start out, wanting it to be a broken family, but he also doesn't feel any type of responsibility to marry the mothers. But hearing now that he says that after looking at his finances, at one point in his prime, he was making about $1 million a week, in the NFL, but adjusting to life after football has been humbling. Now 36 years old, Cam says it hurts that he can't provide for his large family the way he once did, despite still being financially secure. His candid remarks highlight the challenges some athletes face when huge paychecks and life shifts to a new normal.
Cam Newton, what can I say? You made $1 million a week as an NFL player. Now you're no longer an NFL player. I'm sure you have a college degree and you're educated, so you should know how to move on from there and build off that. Plus, you've had from what I've seen, your dad's been in your life, and you had a pretty good run with the community supporting you. So you should be okay. As far as his lifestyle is concerned, I don't know exactly what his lifestyle is like. He has 8 children, so that's pretty big.
A lot of respect. That's a lot of dependents. 8 children, and I believe 3 mothers currently.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, you make your bed, you gotta lay in it, right?
It's just ironic because I've heard him defend his position of creating a huge family, multiple children, didn't want to marry the woman that he had the initial children with, and now he's with another woman. They're not married yet, and he's defended that. So to hear that you can't provide, it's a lot easier to provide if you're in one home, right? So if you're in the home with your wife and your children, that's a lot easier than sending money from having this home and having to send money out to other homes. And they're looking at, of course, those women are probably attracted to you because of the $1 million a week,
Right.
So now you've got these broken families that are all expecting to have that type of money. So it's just, to me, it's ironic that no one is tracing the dots to see that this may not be the best way of creating a lifestyle. I remember when I was in college, a lot of my classmates that were not African American, their families, they would talk about building wealth, and it's very difficult to build wealth when you have money going out to numerous families, children in different places. And I think a lot of athletes and just people that make just actors, musicians, when you're in the limelight and you have opportunity to be involved with many different people, and they want to have children with you because potentially that is a way for them to make money as well, that ultimately does hurt your financial welfare, later, because you have all this money going out to different directions. So it's just interesting. We see that Cam Newton's career earnings have been reported to be around $133 million over nearly a decade in the league. And but when you start, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of money. It's almost ridiculous we're even talking about this with him, but I'm thinking of just the idea of having multiple children in multiple places, and then talking about your financial well-being, because I would suggest to anyone that's young, be careful, because if you create these situations, you have children here, children here, children here, that is money going out. That is, it's never going to be, you're not, that's always going to be going out of the household. That's
of course, yeah.
And maybe more if those children want to go to college. And Cam Newton, I don't think many people are, have a lot of empathy for him, saying that it hurts that he's no longer earning at the pace. No one else is making $1 million a week. But
no, I mean, what was he raised in a small family or big family? I don't know his story.
Yeah,
I
I don't
know of him and his dad coming up. I've heard him on the radio and stuff like
know.
that when he first came out, but
Mhm.
it's still one of those things where like there's been enough track record in history in sports for us to know what. I'm not a really big sports guy, but I know Wilt Chamberlain. I know I've heard stories about these other players, Michael
Mhm.
Jordan, and all these different players that have, large families and multiple wives and children and whatever.
Mhm.
So it's not like not common. You hear about it a lot. So for him to be in this position and say, "Oh, I didn't know," or "It's hard," and well, you know what,
Not really.
par for the course.
We're going to focus on other issues, but I do
Yes.
think young people should pay attention to that, and just in
Hmm.
case you don't make $1 million a week, which most people
$1
will not.
million a week. Come
$1 million
on.
a week is unheard of. But for you to make, at whatever you make, if it's $1 million a week, if it's $1,000 a week, if that money is dispersed in many different directions to meet different
Hmm.
households, that's really going to hurt your
Of course.
bottom line. You know what I mean? Um,
Yep.
so it's proof that he is definitely not. He has no context, and I guess maybe if I made $1 million a week, I may not have context either. So
Plus, he was really young when he came out. So when you're a child and you become an adult, a young adult, and you're spending money, you have a certain lifestyle. You're not looking forward to 50 and 60. You're like thinking about now. Think
yeah,
about when you're 20 years old. You're thinking about now. You're like, well, I can do that later. My
hmm
body's great. I could run through everybody. I'm a superstar. People love me. I'm getting everything I want. So this is not going to stop anytime soon. Now
yeah,
you're 30 and it's still going on. So, it's part
yeah.
of his life. Yeah.
That's true. And I guess at $1 million a week, that's so much money. That's so much money that it would be difficult to spend like that. That would probably be difficult to spend. So the idea of understanding what that context is and what that's going to do for your daily life
Hmm.
is there's so much excess, right? That you
Yeah.
wouldn't. And I think that, there are a lot of people that aren't earning that much, but I think when you have money and it's not an issue, you're not thinking that it's one day going to be an issue, because
Right.
it's just, especially when there's an excess like that, so it is, but I do think it's a cautionary tale
If you
for
invest if he took 1 week and invest a week every month,
Mhm.
he would have been straight. The money investment could have been,
Well, I think he is straight. I think Kim
yeah,
is
yeah,
straight. I think he's just talking. I think he likes to
yeah, yeah.
but
Headlines.
yeah, he likes to talk. He and Nick Cannon have been a part of this conversation of having um, multiple children outside of your home, right? And so, because
Right.
Nick Cannon has them spread over quite a few homes, and that
Right.
has
Yeah.
to be quite expensive, So, and I know a lot of athletes have that. We see Cardi B's boyfriend,
Stefan Diggs.
Stephon
Yeah.
Diggs, had 4 children this year. 4 children this year, 1 with Cardi B, 3 with other women. So we look at that when he stops making, I mean, he's obviously going to earn for a while, God
Hmm.
willing. But when that money stops at that level, he's going to have to figure that out. And then also, these women with these children, there's going to have to be, figuring out for me, and then also figuring out how do I continue to keep these children and these women at the life that they've been accustomed to while I've been,
Exactly.
Super Bowl. He's going to the Super Bowl. We don't know if he's going to win the Super Bowl, but
Yeah, he's going. Yeah,
he's going
he's
to
in
the
it.
Super Bowl. Yeah. I want to go next to this. It's a very sad story here. We see that the Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie's family has been issuing pleas for the safe return of her 84-year-old mother, Nancy Guthrie, who disappeared from her Arizona home earlier this week. In a new video, her brother Cameron, pictured here, directly appeals to anyone possibly holding their mother to make contact and prove that she is alive. I believe that there was a report that said that there was some blood seen someplace, I guess, leaving the home. That yes, blood found at her home has been confirmed as Nancy's, and her pacemaker maker data stopped syncing shortly after she was last seen, fueling concerns about foul play. I cannot imagine. I just cannot imagine. This is I've been
Yeah.
watching the story because it's just so heartbreaking. I'm hoping that they do find her mother, but I guess as hours and days go by, people, becomes less and less likely
Right.
that they would find her safe. A $50,000 reward is being offered for information leading to Nancy's recovery or the arrest of those involved. Family, law enforcement, and community members are urging anyone with information to come forward. Ooh.
I saw something on the news this morning where they was saying, well, not news, but social, that this is tied to the Epstein files. Like, yeah, the sister and what's the lady's name again? Savannah were in the files. Savannah is in the Epstein files, and it's tied to that some way or the other. And that Savannah gave her sister the voice to come out and speak about against it. And there's supposed to be some type of reckoning video coming out or something on that level. So I think this might be all tied into that from what I'm hearing. I'm still doing my research on it, but yeah, so far is what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, something is definitely going on. I mean, there's definitely something, something happening that is definitely really sad. Savannah has stepped back, of course, from her professional duties, including coverage of the Olympics, to be with her family. Colleagues from the Today Show and supporters across the country have publicly rallied around her and her family, offering emotional support. I just, we saw Wednesday, we talked about entertainer, DJ,
Lil
Jon's son.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as of now, he is still reported missing. They've done a national search. It's gone nationwide, looking for him as well. And we'll keep you all posted. I mean, it's our hope and prayer that on Monday we'll have better news to support about Savannah's mother and Slade, Little John's son, as well. Just heartbreaking stories.
I can't imagine that going on to my mom or my brother or son missing,
I can't either.
They can't find him,
Yeah, but that's, and I didn't know. I did not know until you mentioned that it could potentially have something to do with the Epstein files. And again, Shea Butter Mama says Savannah's brother appeared very stoic, weird. I think that you just never know how people are going to respond. You don't know how people respond when they're going through pain. I don't, so I try to be very careful about comments, thinking that way, because you just don't know how people deal with grief or deal with fear. Some people shut down, some people seem very stoic, and then other people are, very grief ridden. So you don't know, but I just pray that this family, finds peace and she's returned. I also pray that we are all freed from continuously hearing about these Epstein files. Like, I don't necessarily know why, because why are we still being, fed bird people little pieces of information here and there. It's very strange how the information is being doled out and all these redactions in it, right? So, and then people are fighting against the redactions. I know that, as we talked about on Wednesday, Bill and Hillary Clinton are supposed to testify. Like, I just, and people believe that there's going to be a response to their testimony, that it will, incriminate some people. We do want convictions, but I just, I think that the way this is being handled is contributing to just a lot of drama and
not just that, but the algorithm on social media has been crazy. So when you go into your algorithm feed, whenever you see a video, the same thing pops up and keeps going and keeps going, and it's like a rabbit hole. And so You mix the Epstein files with what Trump is doing, with what ICE is doing, what's going on around the world, and you just keep piling it up, piling it up, piling it up, and it's like, after a while, it's like I'm tired, I'm done. I need a break.
I think that's what most people are feeling. But let's get into the heavy stuff. Let's get into the heavy stuff now. We'll start with Kamala. Former Vice President Kamala Harris has relaunched her 2024 campaign's digital presence, Kamala HQ, as a new multi-platform progressive media and organizing hub called Headquarters, designed to engage Gen Z and young voters with pro-democracy content. The initiative partners with advocacy groups and marks a shift towards permanent digital political infrastructure rather than a campaign-specific account. Obviously, this is in preparation for midterms, and trying to really sway and get people to vote. We could say that it's not for a particular campaign, but we definitely know that they're hoping that the Democrats get control back. It's positioned as a permanent organizing infrastructure for progressive messaging, a departure from digital campaign accounts that typically go dormant after elections. Now, I think that's a really good idea because I do think the public has become tired of being catered to and overrun, just bombarded with political messaging right before elections, right? And I've always wondered, why doesn't someone think that it would be smart to keep the conversation going so that you don't have to come out of the left field and it just feels very fake. It feels like a lot of propaganda when 3 months before the elections we're hit with all this information. So I do think this is very smart to have this ongoing conversation so that specifically young people stay engaged in politics and the conversation keeps going after, before, and during election season.
I think one of the reasons why I always say Donald Trump, not so much won the White House, but it's so polarizing is because he knows the power of media, and so he stayed in the media, in the news media, whether it was good or bad, mostly bad, 90% bad, but he stayed he stayed in the media all the time while Barack was president, while Biden was president, while he stayed in the media. So the ad spend was so much less on his part because people already know his stance. They already know his message. They already know his brand. They already know all about him. And even with bad stuff going on, he still kept his face and his name in people's mouths all the time. By the time Kamala started running for president, it wasn't enough money in the world that she could run through to help her and save her because Trump had already spent 4 years during her and Biden's administration campaigning for president, 4 years before, by just being in the news 24/7, by getting away with what he got away with. He made a point to show that how he was the mob boss, how he was, he was above the law, how he was all these things he was running on. So by the time the election came around, he didn't have to do much. He was like, I don't have to do anything. Why would I even debate Biden? You already know what I believe, what I stand on 4 years prior, all this time. So it is smart that the Democratic Party has reopened this particular brand because she did have a voice. People did vote for her. And I think there needs to be a balance when it comes to political power in America. There's, the right side is right leaning right now. It needs to be a balance in America. So the left needs to speak up. The left isn't saying anything right now. They're just quiet. And the people protesting hasn't done a whole lot. It's doing something, but not where it needs to be. And people are saying, where are the Democrats? Why aren't they standing up? Why aren't they speaking out? They're in the House and Senate. What's going on? So in order for them to take back those places, they need to speak up, stand up for the people. And it can't be just once in a while. It has to be consistent, a message, consistent. And I think people need this. I think it's important. It's important for the midterms and for the 2028 election coming up. Yeah.
I think what they're doing is they're being reactive as opposed to proactive.
And exactly.
Play with defense and no offense, then that's a problem. And so I think that the Democrats have kind of become overwhelmed with trying to fight everything that Trump is saying or that administration is saying, as opposed to sharing what their own, policies are and beliefs are. And I think that obviously what happened with that presidential campaign is, like you said, to Kamala, there, aside from the fact that Trump had been visible, they switched out Biden for Kamala in the ninth hour. And as a result, the Democrats lost a lot of faith in that party because it was mishandled, and there was not, and then after the loss, it just kind of fell there. They just kind of fell apart. Like, we're not sure what to do. There's not really strong voices speaking out and not speaking about, not reacting. Right. And I think that's the thing, is that Trump has them on a just playing defense his whole time. And so that's why we see them saying, okay, this is wrong. Yes. But what do you believe? You haven't had any time to really just talk about what their beliefs are, what they're pushing for and all that. It's all been, attacks against this. And so it's working, because I've even, spoken to people that say, the Democrats really need to do kind of like reset and figure out, get some strong party voices and start building that back up. And I don't think we've seen that, as of yet.
They need to be visible. Where are they? Where are the Democrats? They're not visible.
They are playing defense. They are trying to, every time Trump does something, he gives them something to work on, and they don't get a chance to focus on themselves. But I think this is a good, this is a great start. Having this
starting point,
having this Kamala HQ. I don't know if it needs to be. I would love to see something that was more just Democrat driven. But this is definitely a good start. A good start. But speaking of more Trump information, conservative group Turning Point USA is staging an all-American halftime show to air opposite the NFL's official Super Bowl halftime show, headlined by Kid Rock and featuring country artists like Lee Brice and Brantley Gilbert. The alternative performance is framed as a patriotic and family-friendly counterpoint to Bad Bunny's official set, reflecting ongoing cultural and political divisions over entertainment and identity in American media. This is disgusting to me. And I tell you why. I think that it is, we're just going to put plain, simple words on it. It is a whitewashed Super Bowl performance. It's like we want the American values, and that is represented by Caucasian people, because it's a difference in the messaging, right? Because I saw that Kid Rock is not someone that I would necessarily think would be family friendly. He has lyrics talking about, underage women and hitting on underage girls. There's a lot. Rock and roll was built on underage girls and rock stars. That's the culture of rock and roll. And he was kind of like a country hybrid of country and rock. And he definitely has lyrics that are not family friendly. I'm not familiar with Lee Brice or Brantley Gilbert, but to say we need a separate Super Bowl performance that represents all American values.
Faith and family. That's
not faith and family. Where? It's just white. I'm just gonna say it's just white. It's white. And we don't want anyone that is a minority. We don't want any Black or brown people. We don't want any. And I don't think it's the same thing when you're talking about race and culture and gender, but I think that they're trying to whitewash everything and have it look a certain way with no LGBTQ, no people of color, no minorities. I'm surprised there's even a woman in this. I'm surprised there is a woman, because I really want to be.
I think one of the guys is Black, isn't it? Brantley Gilbert. He looks like he's mixed or Black.
Brantley Gilbert.
I think he might be the one at the top. He might be. But it's not even that. I look at Kid Rock started out as a hip hop, a rapping country person,
Yeah.
a country hip hop rock, a Run DMC style rapping, whatever. He's known for that. There's video floating around of him performing at one of those Turning Point USA performances, and he's rapping all his lyrics in his songs or whatever. And the audience is, with JD Vance and his wife in the audience, and they're like, cheering him on. But to have it on TBN, TBN is the
Trinity Broadcast Network.
Trinity Broadcast Network, which is a supposedly Christian evangelical platform, says a lot. Those platforms are right-winged, white valued platforms, and so to do
because it's not.
It's divisive. It's not even.
Christianity is not a color, and it's not. And unfortunately, they're painting a picture that Christianity as a religion, the identity is this right-wing political.
Well,
message.
It is in this country. When you say that word, it's national white,
I know,
conservative,
and that's
what they call it. So if you look at the halftime show coming up, I mean, and to say Bad Bunny isn't, but all these artists, I don't know what their lyrics, all of them are, but I'm sure they have the same lyrics that Bad Bunny's singing and rapping about.
Well, these lyrics are on the in this JPEG. Young ladies, I like them underage. See, some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. My story ain't that complex. 240s in a Rolex. Like that's basically that's the opposite of promote. That's the same thing that R. Kelly's in prison for right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's sad and it's ridiculously.
Yeah.
And if people can't see through that,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what
Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA is the one that's promoting this and putting it on. Yep,
and
that's where we are.
So it's going to be on. This alternative show will be streaming on social platforms like YouTube, X, and Rumble, as well as TBN and Charge and the National News Desk. That is really it's just promoting divisiveness in this country, and that has been, to me, an underlying theme of this administration is divide the country, a cultural and political pushback. It's very unfortunate. Moving forward in that same vein, Senator Ted Cruz has taken aim at Netflix after Billie Eilish used her Golden Globes acceptance speech to criticize the company's decision to drop a documentary about Hurricane Katrina. Cruz sent a letter demanding answers, questioning whether the speech violated Eilish's contract with Netflix and urging the company to respond. The exchange underscores ongoing tensions over creative expression, corporate decision-making, and political pushback. Billie Eilish has been very, very vocal. We saw her. We actually have her speech at the beloved community awards during Martin Luther King weekend. When she spoke out about ICE and hate. She did that, of course, again at the Grammys, and that's what is causing this backlash. I admire the fact that she's young, she's successful, and she's using her platform to get a message across because she knows people are listening. She doesn't do a lot of interviews. She doesn't do a lot of talking. But for her to use those high-profile moments to speak about issues that are important to her and issues that she feels are important to her community, I think is admirable. But I do understand that when you are representing certain brands and there are certain, agreements in place, that there's tension between politics and then creators, right? About what is appropriate and how that can affect the bottom line. So I don't know.
To Billie Eilish said, no one's illegal. No one's illegal on stolen land, right? She said no one's.
Yeah.
I don't see. She didn't say anything wrong. She said the truth. And so Ted Cruz, who to me, he is not a good representation of state of Texas. But to criticize her and her statement that she made, it shows that he's not even focused on his district or his state. He's focused on other things. And to ask the CEO of Netflix about the statement about stolen land, and the Netflix CEO said, "Well, I don't really know what's what." I'm like, it's history. Texas stole the land from Mexico. Like, what are we talking about?
Right.
This is not. She didn't make this. She didn't make this up. This is like in the history books.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another instance where the government's trying to silence a person that is speaking their amendment rights to vocalize their artistic views, and she made a clear statement and says what was facts. You know, so I just ignore Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz got on a plane and came to California during the ice storm. So I don't even want to, you know, he's not even worth even debating or talking about, because he's not a good politician. He's been in controversy and scandals over how many years now?
Yeah, but I think
to attack this artist speech while you're interviewing the CEO of Netflix, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, but I think
one has nothing to do with the other. And then he said, and then she goes back to her $14 million house. So what? Like, she didn't on stolen land. Like, what are we talking about?
He's trying to discredit her comments by saying you can't relate. But he's totally, and the same could be said for him as well. But I do think because not only did Netflix take off the Katrina documentary, but also did you see that Netflix moved Michelle Obama's
documentary to the kids section?
Yeah. Now I did see that the documentary was watched more after the Melania documentary was released. You know, people were suggesting, I saw a lot of people suggesting, go watch, if you want to see a real first lady, how, you know, story of a real credible first lady, go watch Becoming. And I think that did work. I think Melania's documentary did drive up the numbers for Michelle, but why would they put it in the kids section? That was very strange.
I don't know. I know that there's nothing about Melania that I need to know about. she not to hate on her, but let's look at her as far as what we know. She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything when she was president's wife the first time. So what makes me want to see her the second time? And we know visibly in the campaign when he was running for president, she wasn't really there. She wasn't there. And what we saw of her, they were swatting hands away and all this other stuff. She doesn't, I don't know. Michelle Obama stands for a lot. We know what her message is. We know her background, know where she came from, know what struggles she came up on. She became president. She became the first lady, and we know all of the stress she was under as the first lady from what she wore on a regular basis. Why are you spending all this money on what you're wearing? Why are you fixing your hair? They're focused on everything that Michelle Obama did. She changed the school's food to being better. Oh, why are you doing that? Our kids need, to eat, crazy stuff. Melania, what? Nothing.
Clothes. But I mean, the only thing I think people really realize about her is that she's well dressed. She's well dressed. That's it.
But why aren't people speaking about how much her clothes cost? They did for Michelle Obama when she became president, first lady. As soon as she came out, the first thing was, why did they spend all this money on her outfits? And conservative radio, the Sean Hannitys and all of those guys were like, why is Obama's wife spending all this money on clothes? Why every time we see her, she's in a new outfit and all this stuff? And now we have Melania, second time, and no one talks about her at all, how she dresses or what she wears.
That's true.
And the lavish money that they spend.
lavish money that's consistently spent,
Yep.
and the lavish money that was spent on this documentary that no one is watching.
It made $7 million. It said they spent 75 to make it. So it was a flop. And all of the videos I've seen was that people go to the movie theater and there's nobody in there to see it.
Yeah, I don't even believe that it made seven. I don't believe that it made $7
No,
million.
I don't think so either.
I think that is inflated by the powers that be. Speaking of Michelle Obama, President Donald Trump sparked intense controversy after posting a video on his Truth Social account that included a brief clip showing former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes, a historical racist trope, at the end of a longer clip promoting false 2020 election conspiracy claims. The post drew swift condemnation from Republicans and Democrats alike, while the White House defended it as a meme.
Horrible. Yeah, the White House is saying focus on real news and stop focusing on false narratives and I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't the president himself post it on his platform?
Mm-hmm.
So if he posted on his platform, that is what we're talking about now. You can't tell me, they do it all the time. Something racist happens, something crazy goes on in our community, and all they'll tell us to do is forget about it, move on, stop focusing on negative stuff. And as soon as something bad happens in their community, it's plastered everywhere. It's, let's talk about it, let's break it down, let's just dissect it. And so this is not the first time we've seen this president post something on Barack and Michelle Obama that is depicting them as monkeys. This is not the first time.
Arrest Barack Obama now. That's what he posted last
He
week.
posted that before last on his platform. We known this to be his stance this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the days when he put the billboard up and ad for the Central Park 5.
Yeah.
So just nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. People, I don't understand. Racism, that has not changed. It's been the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you look at the people around him, there are no people of color in any of the positions that he have in his cabinet. If you look at his messaging, if you look at his comedy, his jokes, his platform, to post this on his platform, I mean, come on.
This was from a 60-second video. The short clip showed the Obama's face superimposed on animated ape bodies, a racist caricature, which we all know that. And that what irritates me. So the imagery was said to the lion sleeps tonight, and the full video showed Trump as a lion with other Democrats portrayed as animals. It is a play off the Lion King, but what I hate is when people try to play in our face, right? So I understand that this is it was not just the Obamas portrayed as animals, but when you portray them as monkeys and you portray Trump as a lion, there's a very, very obvious message there. And we're not stupid. Like the fact that they're arguing this, is not something that's racist is ridiculous. Prominent figures from both parties, like I said, criticized the post. Republican Senator Tim Scott called it the most racist thing he'd seen from the White House and urged its removal. And thankfully there are some Republicans that are acknowledging it as being racist. And we understand, everyone knows what those images are. We're all aware of what a racist trope is. Democrats, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, condemned the imagery as racist and demanded accountability. Critics said the use of this dehumanizing trope against the nation's first Black president and first lady was especially inflammatory during Black History Month. I don't care when it was. I don't care if it was during December. It is insulting, and it is ridiculous that this is where our country is. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt dismissed it as fake outrage and saying the clip was just a harmless internet meme.
Oh, really? Okay.
You said that people should focus on broader issues rather than the imagery.
Broader issues. Okay. Okay.
And
Is
meanwhile,
there a White House? What can we say? Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting, and it's crazy that this is how the president of the country posts on his. I mean, it's unbelievable that we're at a point where before, I'm sure there are other people that that might have felt like that might have shared something behind closed doors. But the fact that this administration is so bold.
Well, he did this before. This is not the first time. He did this before.
He's the only one that has been like we've never seen a president. I'm not saying that there weren't other presidents that held racist beliefs and the way they handled the country, but we've never seen anything this bold and this in people's face. And it's just, I think that it's changing our country. I don't think we're ever going to be the same again.
So it goes back to the question we asked before: where's the Democrats? And so we have 3 more years of this guy in office, and so far he's shown nothing but no restraint. He's just piling through it.
Worse. A couple weeks ago, he flipped somebody off. He said F you. So I mean, it just
every day is something new going on. Every day he's then he's at the prayer breakfast, and oh my goodness, every day something's got every day. Just we have 3 more years of this, unless they impeach him.
We're just in the first. We're in the first year. The Trump. The Trump administration also has unveiled Trump RX, a new website promoting President Trump's prescription drug pricing policies ahead of the 2026 election cycle. The site highlights efforts to lower medication costs, touting achievements and future plans, but critics argue it's more political marketing than meaningful policy transparency. The launch fuels debate over healthcare messaging and the role of campaign link messaging from federal offices. I believe he said that America was all going to be skinny because he was making Ozempic affordable. That's the way he announced the rollout. I saw that. Yeah, he actually has spoken out against Ozempic and said, made a joke about a friend that had it. But Ozempic is on this list of medicines that he's attempting to, or saying that he's responsible for lowering the cost. What do you think? If there is some good that comes out of that, because I do know there are a lot of elderly people that are unable to afford some of their medicine. I know them, personally. If Trump RX, which is so narcissistic and just the very way that they roll stuff out, but if it did lower the price of some medicines, what would your response to that be?
Okay, so first of all, most of these drug companies already made their money on the first round. When they do trials and they launch the drug at first at $1,000 whatever, a pill or whatever, they already set their bar so high that they made all the money that they could make. And then they turn around and set a time limit on the use of the name, and then it becomes generic, and then they trickle it down and they still make money. So this is all, this is just a show to me. Like, I don't see benefits here. If you want to bring it all the way down, then set the standard and let all the companies know that this is the price is going to be across the board. But you want to have a government linked website with your name on it, so you can say, I did this to bring the cost of prescription drugs down. And it needs to be fixed from the ground up.
It does.
Right? So bad food, high food cost. If food was more affordable, people would be less on drugs when it comes down to that type of stuff. Now, I know medications. Yeah. I know medications like, people need medications for like depression and whatever, anxiety or whatever they go through. So.
High blood pressure, or
that too.
Elderly, are diabetes. Obviously, a lot of people are on Ozempic. There are some people that are on Ozempic or Wegovy because of diabetes, and the price was $1,000. If if you don't have health insurance, and it's now an average of $3.99 with in some people it's $199 depending on the dosage. I do think that I try to look at everything, from a unbiased viewpoint. So if something is going to help, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I do think it is being done as a marketing strategy. It's unfortunate that a marketing strategy is needed. Is what would make you want to help. I'm thinking of specifically the elderly that are dealing with this. There's a lot of people that have things that they need to. They've had heart issues. There's medication, and the medication is very, very, very expensive. And also Medicaid and Medicare coverage have gone through a lot of changes. And it says the administration negotiated most favored nation pricing with manufacturers like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, allowing for lower costs and government programs that could benefit some Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries.
So what happened with Obamacare? When Obamacare was here and they ended that, that had all the drug prices down and people were taking care of it, and then they got rid of Obamacare because they didn't like the name and what it stood for and whatever the case is. They killed Medicare and Medicaid, and now he wants to bring this in. So it's almost like they ended one program to bring this program, and it's like, why did you keep the last program going since it was working?
I think it was working. I think there were issues with it, but it should have just been, they should have worked on those issues as opposed to getting rid of it and starting over again with a new program with Trump's name on it. Why don't we just, so if in all this negativity, because what you said about like food and all that, I agree wholeheartedly. But the reality is there are people right now that need these medications. There are people right now that can't go back and change that. The diet is not going to help them because of how far gone they are. And so they need help. And my heart goes out to those families. I know a lot of, because if you can't afford the medication now, you just don't get it, and then your quality of life is, just in jeopardy health-wise. So if a marketing scam or a marketing propaganda can provide medicine for some people that absolutely need it, God bless. I mean, if something good happens in the midst of something that was done with negative motives or ulterior motives, then that's still something I would say is we should, receive, and it's appreciated for those people that need it.
I guess, I mean, positive, right? Yeah, positive. But I just
realistically look at it like I don't. Shea Butter says they don't really want universal health care, big pharma. Right. We understand that. We totally know that, this whole thing. But I will say, Trump had there, and that's been going on for years with all these presidential administrations. And I think Trump's administration is the one that has done the most to fight against big pharma, specifically because he's not on those particular payrolls, right? And he talks about that. So I'm we see all the negative. If there's any positive here, I think we have to be, do the right thing and share that as well.
Yeah, we should stop drinking plastic bottled water. Switch to glass. I mean, for real, switch to glass bottles, or aluminum or something like that.
A lot of things that are happening here, and I wonder why. I was talking to a friend because we shot, a shameless plug, we shot Second Chance Love with Chili and Matthew in Sardinia, Italy. Sardinia is a blue zone.
Nice.
And while we were talking about, did Scat TV Fest this week, and talking about just that experience and seeing how so many products that are here are illegal in Italy, France, and other countries. And I believe the reason that they are illegal there is because they are focused on the welfare and the health of their country. Here, they are not illegal because Big Pharma wants us to need these drugs, and our government is in cahoots, with them in the long haul. So I think it's worth conversations and talking about, you know, and making sure that people understand all of this is being weaponized against us. But, you know,
Yeah.
if there is something good and some people do get a reduced price on their medication, I'm happy about that.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So, last thing on our docket for today is there was an influencer that was that is pretty popular on social media, and she recently had a home invasion. She details a nightmare home invasion in Los Angeles. A luxury fashion influencer recounts a terrifying home invasion in Los Angeles where armed burglars broke into her house, tied up her husband, and left her traumatized as they stole tens of thousands of dollars in designer goods. The incident has reignited concerns about the safety of social media personalities whose online exposure may make them targets for criminals. This young lady is she has a a social media platform based on being you know, having designer things and things that are very expensive, specifically handbags and things like that. But she said that she realizes that she put her family at risk because her family actually lives there in the home that was burglarized. But she also says that she had precautions there, and they didn't realize that there were precautions, that, you know, that there was alarms, and I guess, so, you know, her home is prepared for that. Daphne Blunt is who this influencer is. She regularly posts haul videos and closet tours showing her designer goods and high-end jewelry collections. She says that the intruder charged upstairs and entered a room where family members were, one of whom enacted his rights to the castle doctrine under California law. And so basically someone in her home was able to defend themselves against the criminals. My question is, like, you know, I have empathy for this young woman, and because her parents were there. She says that when she got up and turned to call 911, she didn't know if her parents were unalived at that point, or you know how bad it was in different parts of the house. Fortunately, my family member then came into my room, brought me to the area that was designated safe in the home as we waited for the police to arrive. She says that people don't understand when they look at her social media that she lives in a safe neighborhood and has a home with ample protections like an alarm system and cameras, and that she would not have all those things. She says a lot of the things you see me post, I'm not stupid enough to leave lying around. My closet is now bolted. It's basically a safe. You can't get into it. There are no longer goods on the premises for you to take. Social media is fake. It is not real. You think I live in this big house alone by myself with no protection, and you can just come in, overpower me, and take my things. That's not the case. Interesting argument to me, because she did still put her family was still put at risk, but it just makes me wonder, like, is it worth that?
No. When you leave food out or you put honey, flies show up, right?
Facts.
So if you're on social media posting all your stuff and you post, you know, one thing I don't do is post on social media that I'm going on a trip or I'm at some trip or whatever, because you have that risk of someone going to your home and breaking into it when you're gone, because they watch and follow you. We've seen celebrities. Pop Smoke got, you know, his life ended because someone posted pin droppers where he was while he was visiting, and he ended up losing his life. And so people have to take note. Your parents were at home, your kids are at home. I mean, this is not a safe. If you did this in a place where it was set up to be that way and it wasn't your place of where you lay your head. I understand that's different than doing it in a place that you set it up that way. And for social media, you're presenting a lifestyle because it's all an act, it's all a show. But when you do it in a home, in a place where your home is, and your parents are there and your kids are there, now this leaves a everlasting stain on your family, and you have to move, or your kids have to go through trauma counseling, and
Right.
it's not a good look.
It's not. I
Yeah.
hope that people see these things. Pop Smoke, there was another artist that had the same thing happen. I think he went to
Roscoe's.
Roscoe's in
Yeah.
LA, and people saw that he was there, or his girlfriend
Yeah.
posted or something happened. But
P&B Rock was that artist. Yeah.
um, I think that social media, there's just so many instances of this being dangerous, specifically when it comes to the reality of you being able to post and kind of stunt, I guess, about what you have, and that leads to following, and a lot of people make money. That's their job. Like at this point,
Yeah.
this young woman has made her job, showing people all her expensive jewelry and the things that she has on social media. But I think, to everything there is a sacrifice, and I don't think that sacrifice is worth it. She was lucky. She
Yeah,
was
she
lucky.
was.
Even if
Yeah.
if you do have, I know there's a law there that if someone comes into your home, you can defend yourself. But what if you're not able to do it, is to get to your, artillery as quickly as they are? Like, it's still a huge risk. And I just would suggest that people be very, very careful. My daughter was actually the victim of a situation like this. She was with a
Oh
gentleman
man.
that was posting on social media how much stuff he had, about all the things he had in his home. And she was with him at his home, and these other guys showed up to rob him. They held her at gunpoint. They held him at gunpoint, had him go back inside the house, took her outside. And it's something that she would never forget. And definitely was, I'm thankful and that nothing happened to her, but that was a traumatic experience. And it just,
Yeah.
she and I talked about, the fact that he was doing all this stuff, and that's what led to the people, like you said, if you put out honey, you're going to attract bears and flies,
Bears. Yeah, bears. Yeah.
attract.
That's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. So just people need to be careful when you post that you're not home. People are aware, a lot of people post a lot about their home life, and when they
Yeah.
post now, we've heard people have had people come in and rob their home when they're not there because they could tell they weren't there on social media. So just be very careful with social media, what you're posting, where you're
Yeah.
at. I know there are a lot of people have taken to posting things after,
Yeah, which is better. Yeah.
yeah, it's much better to post.
But even in today's time, where right now we saw the job market for the month of January, it posted a loss of jobs of 108,000 jobs lost in January. So people aren't working, and people are trying to find ways and means to come up or make money. And so if you're out here on social media presenting a lifestyle that true or not, doesn't matter. People still look at those things and come after
I
you.
think there's just this, we've embraced this culture of materialism to new heights on social media. And one of the topics that we discussed yesterday on the Pulse was that a lot of people social media has there's a backlash to it. A lot of people are realizing that, real life experiences are more rewarding. And there is a backlash to, some of this. And even this idea of extreme materialism, I think people are now really appreciating like real, authentic things that they see. We've talked a little bit about that. Yes, simpler. And so I think things are changing, but in the interim, just please be careful and encourage that doing that to be careful as well.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
we've had a good morning. It's been a lot. It was a lot of information with Trump and Trump. And hopefully, again, my heart really goes out to families, for Savannah with her mother, and also again, for little John, if we just, you know, if you get a chance, say a prayer for both those
Mhm.
families and pray for the return of their loved ones. That's very difficult to deal with, and specifically to deal with it in front of, you know,
The world, yeah.
the world. Yeah.
I'm gonna spend the weekend in outdoors as much as I can,
Nice.
in the sunlight as much as I can,
Mhm.
and recalibrating and resting as much as I can. You know, what about you? What you got planned this weekend?
You know what? I think I'm gonna kind of take a break. I had a very busy week. And
Yeah.
so I know we've got some things I have some articles I want to get turned in today. And I think my husband has to work. And so I'm just gonna probably get some rest in, go hang out with the horses. We have 2 horses. We have a thoroughbred
Oh,
named
beautiful.
and a quarter horse named Zuri. And so I may go work with them a little bit. That's my happy place. That's where I kind of get a chance to kind of,
Nice.
you know, unwind. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned from my horse, Zuri, is, you know, being present. You know, if you're not present, they're
Yeah.
not going to listen, and they're not going to interact with you. So being present is something that's extremely important, and I get a chance to get a lesson in that every time I go, you know, to spend some time with them. So I think I'm going to do that this weekend.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll get back here on Monday and get back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing all you back here. Thank you if you're joining on X, if you're watched on Instagram or here on YouTube. We thank you for watching and look forward to continuing to build. Make sure that you visit lennoxandparker.com. We've got some great content.
Subscribe.
We have a political columnist, award-winning political columnist that just joined, and also another young lady, Brenda Alexander, has some great articles up, and of course Victor and I and the rest of the staff. So please go over to Lennox and Parker. We actually are going to be celebrating Black History Month all for the rest of the month, highlighting businesses. And we start that on Monday. So please, if you have a business that you would like to submit to be highlighted during our Black History Month, you can do that by going to hello@lennoxandparker.com.
Yep.
And submit your business. Again, you can go to hello@lennoxandparker.com to submit your business to be highlighted during the month of February. We are highlighting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday Black businesses that are keeping our community moving forward. Remember to shop Redbox, right?
Shop Redbox. Yeah.
Shop Redbox. If you want more information on that, you can go. If you want more information, you can go to lennoxandparker.com. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but visit the website.
Red bag. Shop Red bag.
Shop Red bag.
Shop Red bag.
Shop Red bag. Go to lennoxandparker.com for more information. And like I said, we would love to highlight your business or a business that you know of. So please send us that information on hello@lennoxandparker.com. Until Monday, this is Crystal, Jordan,
and Victor,
and Victor Flavius signing off. Looking forward to you guys next week. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay blessed.
Have a good weekend. Peace out.
It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.